Good morning, neighbors. We're here with our next installment of the Huntington Matters Candidate Interviews 2023. This is for the election coming up, and we are with the wonderful Andrew Raia, who is our current town clerk. And we're going to have a little conversation with him, ask him your questions, which unfortunately I didn't print out. He's got them now.
Always be prepared.
So we're going to look at it. I'm going to read off of his. But yeah, again, very important for you to pay attention and to actually get out and vote, because these local candidates have the most impact on your daily life, and these elections are super important. So we bring you these candidates to help you get to know what your choices are, and so that you can vote for the best for your family. So thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. And as you know, I had some spine surgery. I'm flying without the neck brace, but if I look a little stiff, I'm not ignoring you.
No, totally understandable, totally forgiven, absolutely, and I'm glad you're doing well. It's good to see you up and around, which is great. So give us a little background about you.
Yeah, well, it's not my first rodeo. I've been blessed to be elected 10 times, 9 times to represent the town of Huntington in the state assembly up in Albany, and most recently 4 years ago to succeed the former town clerk, ANDREW Raia, who will forever be the longest serving town clerk, 38 years due to term limits. So now the longest I can serve is 12 years. But I have over 42 years of experience learning and working in and around the town clerk's office. When I was in 8th grade, my mother was elected. I'm going to be 56.
Wow.
And we discussed things around the dinner table every night. I helped her fill out grants back in the day. So, I guess one could say it was always a dream to be town clerk. I took a very divergent path to get there.
Yeah.
I loved what I did in Albany, but when Joanne decided to retire, I figured it was time to come home and preserve the legacy that she worked so hard to put into place.
Yeah.
In the past 4 years, it's hard. I always used to get, people would say to me, "You've got big shoes to fill." And my response was always, well, I'm never going to fill those shoes. I consider myself the caretaker of the legacy. That being said, we have made some significant changes are coming to the town clerk's office. So I'm looking to expand my mother's legacy.
Yeah, that's excellent. And with technology now, I mean, if your mom had that at her fingertips over 38 years, at the cost it is now, it's much less expensive now than it was then. But yeah, that's excellent. So.
Exactly. So, but
yes.
I see one of the questions we have here, or what are the responsibilities of the town clerk, and most people don't know.
Yeah.
I guarantee just about everybody doesn't know. Town clerk's role is 5 jobs. You're the town clerk, and as the town clerk, you serve as the secretary to the town board. You publish the hearing notices. You'll see me on the public access channel recording the votes at a town board meeting. But one of the most important functions that we do is we kind of act as the gatekeeper. So when you send a letter to town hall, I don't care what department it is, you should CC the town clerk, because then we make sure that the appropriate department is getting the right information, and more importantly, when you write in about a specific issue, we notify the town board and the town supervisor. We also maintain a public information page, which is actually printed every month as part of the town board agenda. So if you want to make sure your voice is being heard, CC us, and I will make sure that your problem is directed to the right department.
Yeah, then it's held forever.
Well, we'll get to that. So, but the second job is actually the Registrar of Vital Statistics. And I have to sign every birth, marriage, and death certificate that occurs in the town of Huntington. Most people don't know that. It's a very important job, because all you need is somebody's marriage license to steal their identity.
Yeah.
It has your parents' maiden name, has your social security number on it, has your address, has a lot of all the information you need. So that is a very important job, and I am on call as the Registrar of Vital Statistics. I'm on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. People don't die between the hours of 8:30 and 4:30 usually. Right. So when my phone dings in the middle of the night, I have a job to do. And it's interesting because if you CC the town clerk or email the town clerk, it goes right to my very encrypted phone. So don't be surprised if you send an email at 3 o'clock in the morning that you get a response at 3:05 or get a phone call. Because once I'm up, I'm up.
Yeah. So you have to like immediately get up and sign death
Yeah.
certificates and stuff?
Well, sure. What happens, in fact, in many instances, depending on the religion, both Jewish and Muslim, they have to be buried within 24 hours, and a lot of times that's an overseas burial. So I've actually come back to the office at midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, and issued a burial permit so that person can ultimately be buried within that 24 hours. So it's probably.
And your mom used to do that too?
Sure, absolutely.
Wow.
It's, you know, I remember being a little kid and she'd get a phone call and she was the only elected official ever listed in the phone book. And it would be a family going on vacation and they can't find their kid's birth certificate.
Wow.
So she'd run 4 o'clock in the morning, run down and print out a new birth certificate, and then that family got to enjoy their vacation. So it's something that I grew up being exposed to. Even at a very early age, I pick up the phone and field the question.
Yeah.
So, you know, one could say I was almost born to be the town clerk.
Exemplary level of service.
So job number 3, the records management officer.
Yes, very important.
Every single document in town hall, depending, you know, no matter what the department is, will eventually wind up in the ANDREW RAIA Archives and Records Center. And if you saw how it literally takes up a whole basketball court.
I saw the gym. She took me in there years ago, and it was just stacks of boxes after boxes,
30 feet
file
high.
cabinets,
And each one
and
is.
I looked at her and I'm like, who's lifting this for you, Joanne?
Well, we have very good staff. Now, all of those records wind up there for a certain amount of time, and it's all according to state law. So some of those documents can be disposed of in 3 months or 6 months. Others have to be scanned and kept forever. And when we dispose of those documents are actually burned at the town incinerator.
Wow.
So it's not like they wind up in a garbage can somewhere. They are properly disposed as per state law. So very important part of the job. And somebody can request something from 1653 and we will find those records.
Wow.
If you have relatives that date back 100 years and you want to learn something about your relatives and from the town of Huntington, more than likely we're going to have some information about them.
That is very cool.
So that's number 3. Number 4 is the town marriage officer. I perform over 250 wedding ceremonies a year. They often take place in town hall, but I did one at Jonathan's restaurant yesterday on Halloween.
That's cool. Were they in costume?
No, they were not in costume, but it was a very lovely wedding.
Were you in costume?
I was not in costume. Well, it depends, you know. If I'm wearing a suit, so these days it's a costume. But it's during the pandemic, I performed over dozens and dozens of weddings for doctors and nurses who thought they were going to die or wanted to get married.
Aw.
For residents that were laid off from their job and they needed their loved ones' health insurance. We all know that. A lot of people got laid off. So I did that for free for months and months. And in middle of February, I'm performing wedding ceremonies outside. I also put my life at risk by performing wedding ceremonies in people's houses. And I can't tell you how many times I got a phone call the next day saying, I'm sorry, we all have COVID. I hope you don't get it.
I hope.
And I didn't get it until like a few months ago. So I consider myself blessed. But very important part of the job too, because people need to get married for whatever the reason may be. It's not always for love. No, I'm kidding. It's always for love. Always for love. And lastly, I'm an agent of New York State. The town clerk's office issues hunting licenses, sporting licenses, fishing licenses. And people don't know that the town clerk actually has to license and inspect every bingo game in the town of Huntington.
Really?
And those games of chance that you play at the fire department fairs, they have to be licensed and inspected by my office as well.
Wow.
So you don't
Because it's
realize that.
gambling, or?
Bingo, but those are really for years, those were the only legal gambling in New York State. Bell jar, where you have the big jar, and you got to guess how many things are in the jar, marbles.
Yeah.
That's a form of gambling, and I have to license that.
Oh my
So eat like
Wow.
Like count the dog treats, like
Right.
that thing that they had at. Ooh, I wonder if
Precisely.
that. That's amazing.
Yeah,
And
so,
so, do you have to certify like what's the name? Mary McDonald's doing one at the November something fundraiser, but it's a gambling night. You don't see them anymore, like a casino night.
casino night, they
At
are,
the Moose Lodge.
they are supposed to come to me for
In
a
November.
license.
Okay.
Do you also
Get right on
do
that.
the dog licenses?
Well, sure, when it comes to other licenses, the town clerk's office issues over 100 different licenses and permits.
I was talking to someone last night who never knew you had to have a dog license, and they've had a dog their whole life.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't be the only one. We estimate probably only about 30% of the town's residents.
If that, yeah.
Well, they're coming down today to make sure.
Well-
And why do you need a dog license?
Well, because it's actually New York State law. Because New York State wants to make sure that any dog roaming around has the rabies tag,
Yeah.
is identifiable. But the biggest reason why you should get your dog license is because if your dog gets loose and bites somebody, your insurance company will not pay the claim
Without a
if the
license.
dog's not licensed.
Wow.
Wow.
So people don't, and you know, it's amazing, you know, there are elected officials that don't even know, and I remind them.
And I worked in an animal hospital for 12 years, and we didn't know.
Where would you find a list of what all the licenses that you?
You can get them all on our website, believe it or not. It's a very robust website that's always expanding. But I mean, here's another one people don't know. You're having a party in the backyard, and you have an amplified speaker.
Yeah.
You're supposed to apply for a sound permit from my office for $25.
Yeah.
So when your neighbor calls the police on you before 11 o'clock, because the 11 o'clock is the cutoff time, you get to show your permit and say, I have the right to do this. So yeah, and the list goes on and on, commuter parking and disability
This is very
parking
interesting,
permits.
something most people don't know.
They
Thank
don't
you.
know, yeah.
You-
And we
you-
get asked all kinds of weird questions, like there's so many roads lead to Andrew
You
Raia.
cannot be, I like to say, you cannot be born, get married, die, have a dog, park your car, and over 100 other things in life.
Very cool, very cool.
And so that is all 5 jobs of the town clerk's
It's a lot.
office.
It's a lot. And now, you know, it makes kind of sense that it's an elected position because of the responsibility as well.
You know, it's interesting. Depending on where you go, in some instances, the town clerk is appointed, much like the highway superintendent and the tax receiver would be appointed. I would fight that, tooth and nail, not to make it an appointed position. Because a lot of times, particularly like with the highway department, when a town runs out of money, they wind up taking it from other departments. So as an elected official, you can push back.
Right.
If you're an appointed official, you have to worry about keeping your job.
Right, good point.
So and then upstate New York, a lot of the town clerks are also the receiver of taxes. These are towns, maybe with a couple hundred people in it, and literally I have one of my colleagues that hangs a sign during lunch that says, "Gone home to milk the cows." And that is not a joke.
Very cool.
So we do a lot of that, but as far as,
The next question is, what skills or qualities do you think are most important for a town clerk?
well, obviously, experience. A lot of people think that they might have, I do this in the private sector, so that will easily transfer over to town clerk. Not at all. We have to follow over 100 different state and local laws. And if you don't know what you're doing, on day one, you're going to break 6 of them by lunchtime. So the fact that I have that 42 years of experience working in and around the town clerk's office, I hit the ground running on day one.
Yeah.
So that's number one.
And
Because
you have a mentor in your pocket.
well, that's true, and without a doubt.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, I'm the holder of your most important records. Why would you trust somebody that has never probably even stepped foot in the town clerk's office to be the harbor of your most important and vital records?
Yeah, exactly.
Every day we see a new cyber threat that happens, like in Suffolk County. And I will get to some of those
Yeah,
in
we
the
have a
future.
question about that, yeah.
But the other one certainly is compassion. And the town clerk's office is not a policy-making position. I don't have a vote on anything. My job is to deliver the best, most effective services to town residents. And I always stress to my employees, because I have a blended office with appointed employees as well as civil service employees.
Interesting.
Most of the employees are civil service.
Yeah.
And I stress to them that everybody's to be treated equally with dignity and respect, and we always go the extra mile. If somebody, is missing a certain document and wants to get married, we go out of our way to try and figure out how we can prove that they are who they say they are. So compassion is very, very
Yeah, we
important.
always found the town clerk's office whenever we needed anything before we were involved in the community to be very kind.
Well,
Not like DMV, that's for sure.
that is true. That certainly is true.
Yeah. So what do you perceive as the biggest challenge facing the town clerk's office at this time, and what would you do to?
Yeah, well, we're right now updating a very old and antiquated computer system that is no longer being serviced by the company that made it.
Wow.
So
That's the town clerk software.
It's
now you're
correct,
talking
the
about.
town clerk software, so, all those 100+ permits and everything else have to run through that
It's like
software.
a DOS system, right?
Yeah, a little better than that, but while we're able to function, the problem is the state is always passing new laws, and so if we can't update that system, then it becomes very difficult. So I've spent the last year interviewing different companies,
Okay.
because I want the right program, because I don't want to put your vital records at risk. And if you just put everything in the cloud, that's potentially what can happen, as we learned from Suffolk County cyber attack. So we finally have found, I think, the right company, combined with my knowledge and experience of that computer program over the years. I think we're going to come up with something really good. Come January or February. The RFP, request for proposal, should be going out shortly.
Okay.
And hopefully by January, February, you'll be able to go online and access pretty much all of the services from the town clerk's office. using a
Amazing.
credit card. Because while we love to see you come in and greet you with a smiling face, we realize that a lot of people can't afford to take off just to get a commuter parking permit. Or if you're disabled, you can't necessarily walk into the office. So usually I deliver a lot of those disability parking permits. If you're over 90, I usually drop it off at your house personally.
That's awesome.
So that's one of the biggest challenges for sure, is finally updating this. And this is something my mother tried to do for years. And unfortunately, the previous town boards were not very friendly towards the town clerk's office. So I've been blessed that Councilman Farrow and the town board appropriated the funding for both the building department and all the other departments to upgrade their software. Really coming to the 21st century.
It has to be done.
Right.
It shouldn't be about politics. It just absolutely has to be done.
Exactly.
So, good question on the RFP. If you've selected a company that
Well,
you like,
we've worked, in other words, working with them, we've refined what needs to go into the program.
oh, I see.
So
okay.
that they have to compete in an RFP
Right.
process just like everybody else. But it's in other times we've done an RFP and you only get one company that responds and turns.
Especially if you put, I see what you're saying. Okay,
Right.
got it.
So yes, you have to go when you're spending more than $50, generally $500. You have to go through the RFP process.
How expensive is that going to be? Do you think?
It's going to be about $50,000 a year. Now
a year.
A year. That being said, the original cost was $100,000.
But look what it'll be able to do.
Yeah,
No, I agree.
I got it. We now got that reduced by
Yeah.
50%.
A lot, yeah.
What was your integrated system? What was the expense of that?
really, it was pretty much a one-time
You
fee.
purchase
You
it
purchase
outright,
it.
but then you're very, very limited. in
Right,
what
well,
you
and it
can
has to be maintained by the IT department. This was, the
Right.
programs we're looking at these days are really maintained by the company,
vendor.
the vendor themselves.
And then you get 24-hour support from the vendor,
Correct.
I'm sure.
Correct. So that, we have the
Yeah.
best IT department in any town. As far
And you
as
get
I'm
automatic
concerned.
updates
Automatic updates, all the other stuff.
for what period of time?
Like
As long
yeah,
as
as
you
long as you're
have them.
right.
Yeah. Great. And they're a long-standing company.
Yes.
They're not going to get
Yeah,
sucked
'cause-
by another company.
See, well, you really do know your stuff.
I really do. It's my world.
Usually what happens, you got these upstarts, and then they wind up getting swallowed up by
Yeah.
Laserfish or Granicus, and they just want pieces of it.
Mhm.
And so we found a lot of these programs tend to be one size fits all, and that will not work for the town
Right.
clerk's office.
Right. Fascinating.
Mhm.
Okay, great. I'm gonna say, okay, so can you give an example of one or two situations that require creative out-of-the-box solutions that you're proud of?
I'll give you one big one.
I'm sure you got some good ones.
Well, I was in office for 3 months
Mhm.
when the pandemic hit.
Mm.
I knew what to do immediately, how to run the office, and in fact, when I was a state assemblyman, I was one of the prime sponsors on something called the electronic death registry system. And this was created after the SARS pandemic, because back in the day, and it still happens every once in a while, but every time there was a death, the funeral director would show up in your driveway after hours with the body in the back of the car with a minivan.
In your driveway?
In my driveway, in the town clerk. I grew up as a
Yeah.
kid calling my friends saying, "Oh my God, you guys gotta come over." and they'd be, "Oh no, you live and learn." But and I would watch my mom fill out the actual paperwork and send them on their way. So after SARS, we realized that this was probably not a good thing to expose town clerks and staff to if there's a pandemic.
Yeah.
So now most of these are done electronically, and that means I don't have to expose myself to a potential pandemic.
And that had to be legislation, because previously it was a law.
And it took a long time, because doctors have to do this online, the funeral director has to do it online, I have to do it online, and there's a lot of kicking and screaming, but because I was actually one of the creators of the law, I knew exactly how it worked before I even stepped into the office. So we're the only department in town hall not to close ever during the pandemic. I was personally servicing people in the parking lot. It was like I had roller skates, I had my feet and my suits, hazmat suit on, issuing marriage licenses. I was actually marrying people in their cars. Felt like the Reverend Moon. Line them all up, and everyone say I do. So if I wasn't servicing people in the parking lot, as it got warmer, we were actually doing it through an open window in the office. So we ensured that when you needed that birth certificate, or when you needed to get married to get your partner's health insurance, we were there 24 hours a day. I personally, my office personally signed and delivered over 900 COVID-related death certificates.
Oh my God.
And I can't tell you how heartbreaking it was to personally deliver death transcripts to a widow that gave their spouse COVID and died, and then they're left to pick up the pieces. So you became almost, you want to talk about empathy and compassion. I've had some of the most tearful conversations through a closed door with somebody, battling COVID, or who had just lost someone because of COVID. So that, was really, I'm very proud of my office and the fact that we were in New York City when it took 3 to 6 months to get an appointment just to get a marriage license. We welcomed everybody. They didn't need to be town residents, because as an agent of the state, I cannot limit services to just town residents. So if you show up from another town, I can't say, sorry, we're only servicing Huntington residents. I have to issue that document. So, you know, we were very, very proud of that. And I actually also found out, in the assembly, I was the ranking member on the health committee for many, many years. I was able to find out that the state health department was lying about the total numbers of COVID death. And we got Newsday to do a big story on it.
Wow.
And needless to say, I got some pretty serious threats from the state health department saying, you can't release that information. And I said, well, really, actually, it says right here, I can.
And you should.
For statistical purposes. It says it right here in the law. So the commissioner and I were not palsy-wowsy to say the least, but as a result of that, Newsday did a very big story, and the health department had to admit that they weren't properly counting nursing home deaths. So
That's huge.
exactly. Well, I thought so.
Yeah.
But it just goes, you know, we have to be able to adapt and handle what's ever thrown at us,
Yeah.
because people can't wait.
Yeah.
A prime example, during the pandemic, somebody trying to get married who was from a foreign country and couldn't get their birth certificate because the town halls in India are closed.
Yeah.
So we had to figure out ways to make sure that person is who they say they are.
Yeah.
Now, the state of New York
And it
allowed,
would be very easy to go, sorry, can't help you by.
correct, which
I'm sure a lot of clerks' offices
never
do.
did. I called other countries to track down that information. Now, New York State allowed this to be done, weddings and marriage licenses to be done online, via Zoom. I refuse to do it, because with the advent of today's color printers, you know, you hold it, oh, here's my birth certificate, I'm gonna hold it up to the camera, could you verify that that's real? So I refuse to do it.
Yeah.
And we said, you wanna get married? You're gonna come on down, I'm gonna put on my hazmat suit, you're gonna put on your mask, and we're gonna make sure you are who you say you are.
Yeah.
New York City, who knows how many people got married that probably legally shouldn't be married.
Interesting.
So that was important.
So another very serious topic, in the light of the devastating Suffolk County server hack, which did originate in the clerk's office.
So they say.
So they say.
But that would be the
And
county
it's Suffolk
clerk's
County clerk's
office,
office,
very
yes,
different from the town
but
clerk's
this shows
office.
how, the importance of, what do you think are the main goals for maintaining the statistical records and security of the clerk's office
Wow.
to protect the residents?
Like we already covered.
Yeah.
I hold the documents that stand in the way of someone stealing your identity.
Yeah.
So I take that very, very seriously. Now, obviously, I can't tell you some of the things that we've implemented.
No, right.
But
Okay.
that being said, I can tell you all my staff signs a non-disclosure statement, so
Okay.
they're not allowed to release any type of information that might put your identity at risk.
Okay.
The state requires us at a minimum to look at certain identification before we issue a vital record,
Right.
like a birth, death, or a marriage. We go above and beyond that. So, if the state says, well, you just need one piece of proof, we ask for two. We inspect the documents. All of my staff, as well as myself, take courses on identifying fraudulent documents. And keep in mind, I have to accept documents from every country in the world.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
And so you get something that, oh wow, that looks official, and then you do a little research, and you find out it's not.
Yeah, wow. And how do you do that on the fly with them standing
Well,
there?
if we're not 100% sure that you are who you say you are,
Yeah.
we ask you to come back another day. Or if you can't take that day off, I'll come to your house and issue that marriage license and inspect your proof. And I do that all the time, as you know.
Have you encountered fraudulent documents? People trying to?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I've had people the day after they get married call me and say, weren't you supposed to tell me certain things when I was getting my marriage license? And I'm like, no, you're married, suck it up. You should have thought about that before you said 24 hours.
No backs.
Right. So I've heard some good ones.
I'm sure you've seen some.
And you get into, when deaths occur, families do, unfortunate things.
Crazy.
And surrogates court, And, you know, a lot of people will try to get a copy of a death certificate that they're not entitled to. You know, it's very specific who is entitled to these documents. You know, the grandchild is not entitled to a copy of a death certificate. So you have to know what the law is. You can't, this is probably the worst job on the planet for on-the-job training. Because you will make mistakes, you will put people's identity at risk if you don't know what's going on. And so that's very important. So, cybersecurity, I'm very happy to say that, knock on wood, we have not had any type of breach like that. Primarily because we don't put our stuff, those records in the cloud. So, may have to, someday that may have to happen, but not today.
Excellent. Wow.
Moving right along.
All right. What innovations? So this, do you feel that this is a duplicate question?
Well, yes, but I can expand. So what innovations or improvements
So you're
are we
looking to bring to
the
the
town
town
clerk's office? So we talked about the computer program.
But
I'm also very proud of the fact that I secured a $125,000 grant from my former colleague, Assemblyman Steve Stern, who's on the other side of the aisle. But you know, people want to know that their elected officials work in a bipartisan fashion. We're so polarized in the country today. Everybody's gone to their prospective teams or going tribal, as they say, and it's one of the things getting done.
we're talking about across party lines between Democrat and Republican that they're working together.
Correct.
Some parties refuse to do that.
Well, listen, and there's
But
you know
we have
fringes
to.
on both sides that refuse to do that. Well, I'm not a policymaker. I have to work with everybody. And I was blessed that Assemblyman Stern, secured a $125,000 grant for me so I can replace the elevator that's in the records, the Joanne Raya Archives and Records Center. Because the town has such a rich history dating back to 1653. We have in our archives the original deed with the Native Americans.
It's incredible.
We have documents from Nathan Hale. We have the coolest love letters from the 1700s that you can put on white gloves and hold that document in your hand. Now, all of those documents have been scanned and are available online, but there's nothing better than holding a 250-year-old piece of paper that's been perfectly preserved. I'm very blessed. Anthony Medeo, my archivist, is one of the best in the world. And the Joanne Raya Archives actually was part of a PBS documentary. We have students that come, graduate students that come from all over the world to do their studies in our archives.
I did some research down there on, some families, some local families.
We get
She
those
was fantastic. Those records are just impeccably kept.
So now we're gonna replace that elevator, and then all of the town's residents, no matter what their disability might be, can access that. It's also very helpful because you saw the thousands of boxes. Well, every 6 months or so, we have to get rid of hundreds of those boxes, and right now they're carrying them up a ladder.
It's literally a ladder.
And I'm sure OSHA's probably going to see this and come out. But this is also a means to ensure the safety of town hall employees that have to dispose of those documents as well.
Definitely.
So,
All right,
almost
great.
moving down the list.
We're doing good. And then we did talk about that.
What makes a good
candidate
candidate
for
for
the town
town
clerk.
clerk's position? Well, and again, actual experience working in the town clerk's office. Saying that, well, I have experience here and that'll transfer over. Well, how do you know that? Because I know it won't. That being said, and compassion. I joke about it, but it's true. In 8th grade, I dreamed of becoming the town clerk. And I'm going to be 56.
And there's a good reason why you're in for the assembly instead of against your mother to
Yeah.
take the town away from her.
Well,
That wouldn't have gone over
When
very well.
Mom turned 80, I said, maybe you should consider retiring. I don't have the primary. No, I'm kidding. Residents would have been very confused which Raya am I voting for. But, so experience. Plus that passion. I never forget I'm a public servant. I hate the word politician because I don't do politics.
Yeah.
I do people.
Yeah.
And now I'm in a position where I don't have to worry about what your opinion is on the issue of the day. I just have to make sure that you're treated respectfully and you get the information or what you're looking for from the town clerk's office.
Yeah. So, and it's great to hear how the past experience of being an assemblyman has ended up, adding to the town clerk. Because you wouldn't necessarily think that they were really related so much.
The town clerk is actually a creation of the state, much like the county clerk and the district attorney are. Now, local government can pass laws that affect the office, but we pretty much were created by New York State. In fact, the town clerk is the oldest government type of job in history. In the Bible, it makes reference to the town clerk. So I'm very proud and humbled to be entrusted with a job that has that kind of history behind it.
And I know I keep talking about your mom, but do you do school presentations?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, because my son, who is not impressed by anything, he came home with a copy of the 1653 document. He's like, Mom, check this out, and she gave out, all kinds of things. He loved it.
Yeah.
He loved it.
We try to encourage as many people to come in.
Yeah.
Students, Eagle Scouts, seniors.
Yeah.
But I take the show on the road. We're limited as to what I can take out of the archives.
Right.
But at the same time, there's always plenty of things, color copies of stuff that I can show. I love going to schools and expanding because I was a history buff.
Yeah.
That would be a great Facebook Live.
It would be a great Facebook Live. Unfortunately, they're in the basement.
No, well, we have an internet connection.
So you have a good, nice, strong Wi-Fi? Okay, good. Then we can hop on that.
News 12 came down for our haunted Halloween and did the whole morning show from there, so we can work it out.
We can work it out.
We're in. All right, we're doing it.
That would be fun.
We're doing it.
All right.
So, and then,
One
Candidate's
question, right?
choice.
Candidate's choice. Is there a question that you wish we'd asked but didn't? Let's discuss. I'm going to talk about fiscal responsibility because we all are finding it hard to make ends meet these days. Whether it's gas or food or what have you, inflation. I'm the only department in town hall to voluntarily cut their budget 3 years in a row while still maintaining outstanding services.
Wow. That's something.
It's, I'm sure my mom's, let's get rid of that money. I had to store that away. And I'm like, we have a tax cap now, which as a state assemblyman, I co-sponsored.
Yeah.
I have to do, every department has to do what they need to do to ensure that the town stays within the tax cap. I think the town had to close a $6 million deficit this year.
Wow.
That's difficult to do without cutting services or laying off employees. So I did my due diligence. So I never forget that it's the public's wallet and the money in that wallet or purse that I'm spending. And that was something I started 20 plus years ago in Albany, and we saw double-digit budget increases, and I would vote no because some of my colleagues spend it like it's water. They forget that they're entrusted to hold the public trust to manage the public's finances.
Yeah, very important. Very, very important. All right. So
closing
comments?
I've been blessed to be elected 10 times by Huntington's residents. I think that shows the type of temperament that I have. It shows that I'm responsive to the community, forward-thinking, and at the same time, very passionate about my job. This is my 11th run for office, and I kindly ask for your vote so I can continue to build upon the town clerk's reputation of being the most efficient office in town hall. I'm also blessed to be the only town clerk candidate in all of Suffolk County to be endorsed by the 8 Suffolk County police unions, the Nassau County PBA, because we actually work with law enforcement on
I'm sure you have to.
many issues.
Yeah.
The Long Island Federation of Labor and the AFL-CIO. People are like, but you're a Republican. How can you be endorsed by over 160 public unions? Well, you can, because you treat everybody equally with respect and you do your job. So I'm blessed to be endorsed by all those, as well as numerous newspaper endorsements. Very gratifying to have your hard work recognized. So I ask for your vote on election day. We're going to keep providing those services. We're going to expand those services for you. And I'll give you my cell phone number right now if you ever need anything. 516-449-5986. It's all about being accessible.
Excellent. Yeah, Diane, right there.
Now, we talked about
We got it.
We talked about it.
We talked about calling you at 3 a.m. just to say good morning.
If we have insomnia. Andy, what's up?
Well,
So,
it happens. It happens.
So, yeah, thank you so much
My
for meeting
pleasure.
with us and
Now,
having a chat.
You are a valuable asset to the Huntington community, and I thank you all for what you do, because I read it, everyone reads it. I think I respond every once in a while when there's an interesting question. I think there may have been one, does someone need a license to go door to door, selling their, advertising what they do, and they do.
They do.
You need a peddler's permit issued by my office.
Definitely do.
If someone knocks on your door and they don't have an ID badge around their neck with a permit issued from my office, even religious groups have to apply.
And there are a
for
lot
it
of
as well.
scams too. There are a lot of scams.
And if
I
someone's
learned
knocking
an
at
awful
your door,
lot
you can
Yeah.
call my office,
Yeah,
and I'll tell you if they're legit.
yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, thanks again, and go vote.
all right. Thanks a lot.